Evelyn Lozada'S daughter. Evelyn Lozada from Basketball Wives fame. Her daughter, pretty gorgeous daughter, is pregnant. Is pregnant by, all right, you white motherfuckers, all eyes on me. This is the I Refuse podcast. This is Mr. Foxy I Refuse podcast. Welcome back. Almost made it to Juneteenth. Thought we were in the clear for a little bit. But yet again, it is 0 days without nonsense. So, I'm Mr. Foxy I Refuse podcast. Welcome back. I know that last video about Foxy Brown's connection to Tupac's murder was a doozy for some of y'all. I know y'all hate to think one thing when clearly I spent 45 minutes talking about something completely different. Even after I broke it down. But I'm back. It's been an interesting 24 hours. So I'm back to discuss something that blew me out the water a bit ago. That Evelyn Lozada. I say that name, everybody knows who that is, for better or for worse. This lady who has cemented her legacy as someone that has allegedly gone through 2 different sports categories and essentially has secured a new 401k retirement plan at a late stage in her life. Evelyn Lozada has a daughter by the name of Shawnee's. When Evelyn came back to do Basketball Wives, I think for the 3rd time, the big thing for her, and I think it was contrived. I think it was forced. In her umpteenth issue with Jennifer was allegedly Jennifer was saying stuff about Shawnee's. And, for a season, almost a season and a half, it was around that. And I'm thinking to myself, Shawnee's is old enough. And then, after the headbutting thing from Chad Ochocinco, allegedly, Evelyn was doing this whole turning over a new leaf, to fix my life. Got a little reality show at some point, Living Lozada or something. And I remember on there, Evelyn was giving Shanice issues, like giving her static about this idea of moving to another country to be with this guy that she hadn't been with that long. And I'm like, this girl is like in her 20s. I didn't watch a show like that, didn't know that she was with somebody, don't really follow them people like that. But she was really giving her static, and I'm thinking like, not every girl's path or child's path has to be similar to yours. And, it's not uncommon for a young adult to do a year of college or delay college, live life a little bit, and come back. I mean, it's not like she was pregnant by the guy. But given the news that I got before I came over here to y'all and through y'all in the group chat, maybe she should have did that. Because Evelyn's daughter, Shanice, is pregnant, allegedly. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. Not by account, not by an investment broker, not by a prince, not even by a male cashier at the Dollar General. Shanice is allegedly pregnant by The Game. Yes, the rapper, The Game. Where the fuck should I start? So, I say that name, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Um, Still world renowned rapper, still does music, still performs and stuff, but also has allegedly a gang of kids. He too had a reality show at some point that followed his relationship with his kids. This was like at least about 13 years ago. But also his relationship with his on and off, again, girlfriend and fiance. I watched the entire show. It was clear to me that this lady, who was a teacher at the time, just was not over whatever the game had done to her. Like every other episode, she was biting this boy's head off. And then there was the big blow up at the dinner table. The game being immature, she being upset again. I was just like, just throw the whole thing away and just like people with regular jobs should not be just unequipped to handle this celebrity life. Especially if you are with a rapper. So I say that to say this. For Shanice, who is still lively, still young, to be pregnant, allegedly, by the game, is not what any person would really hope for. It wasn't that long we were talking about Deion Sanders' daughter getting pregnant by Jacquees, and we see where that's going. Something about a last name and something just, and I don't even think the baby's here yet at the time. So, on the podcast we talk about, how women kind of just throw themselves on the sword or out the window for these dudes who, in their eyes, is aesthetically pleasing. It's, the image, the bad boy thing, like that's never going to go out of style for young girls. And unfortunately, I think Shanice fell for it. And I honestly did not see the game coming. And clearly she didn't either. So for me, it's like you kind of, the first thing is you hope that women would do better or want better for themselves. And secondly, I was having this conversation with a girlfriend of mine because I had told her the story before I came over here to talk to y'all. That it, in a way, your life just kind of stalls when you get knocked up by a celebrity, rapper, or whatever. And you essentially become one of many baby mothers. And you just never know. Like, My girlfriend said they had been messing around for a while, and I'm like, will that equal a full fledged relationship? Is he gonna marry this girl? Who knows? Um, but y'all are outside just like me. You know, these rappers, I mean, they have different kids by different women. We just saw Rick Ross going back and forth with one of his earlier baby moms who cussed him out and kind of sound like Adele Givens. And here you have another young female essentially becoming another statistic. Um, we were also talking about, is it possible and is it clear that this is somewhat of an aspiration for young women? You know, Dre is pregnant by that young boy. Um, Essentially, like such a monkey wrench in what could have been, and I talked about that in a earlier video. But when you look at the stories coming out about young women, and not just any young women, women that are the children of celebrities or reality TV stars who make their way, I guess, to that point in their lives by jumping from athlete to athlete to athlete. And this kind of goes along the same lines of what I was talking about in my Aoki Simmons video, where it's like, is it possible that mothers are schooling daughters? Is it possible that they're essentially walking in the footsteps of their parents? And the outcome is essentially the same. Um, the game is a couple years or more older than me. You know, years removed from, you know, the early mid 2000s. Been a while since Old Boy had a hit. Um, it makes me wonder, what can she do now? What's she going to do? Um, because you're kind of saddled with a kid by a dude that may or may not have as much investment with his other kids. I mean, we've never heard anything, but this video is about Shanice. Don't really know much about the girl. Um, but could have been a real contender. Could have been a real contender. You know, on the channel, you know, this isn't the first story of its kind that we've talked about. And it all just comes back to a question I've always asked. I'm like, don't you want more for your life? Don't you kind of want to break the cycle? I mean, Shanice, talk to me, girl. Talk to me. What's going on? What is happening? It just seems to me that once it gets out that you, regular degular woman, is knocked up by a celebrity dude, it just, the future just screams love and hip hop, right? Which, to some degree, money is money. And no matter what you do, rent is due. But the pipeline from a story like this to love and hip hop or some kind of Zeus show is getting shorter and shorter by the minute. That could be an outcome. I'm just finding it hard. Like I'm at a loss for words over this. Not that I give a shit, but it just when you think about the girls coming up and the ladies coming up, and I don't know if it's cabin fever. I don't know if it's like something in the water, something about the pandemic that's just got people going just wild. Um, this was not on my bingo card for 2024, but at this point, I may have just was like, I can't call shit at this point. Like, I don't want to go as far as to say that this is karma of some kind, but it does make me wonder, like, to have the energy, you know, talking about the tree that Shanice the fruit comes from. It makes you wonder though, like, as someone that has spent their almost 20, almost 30 years of life just working to be associated or get into spaces with athletes and artists and musicians and be part of the cool scene, while allegedly your daughter is at home paying all the bills, which is not that tragic. Not to the point where you're throwing stuff at somebody you claim to be a friend of yours for so long. To then get to your mid 50s and your oldest child, who is still young enough to go to college, have a backup plan, pregnant by a rapper. And not by one of the least chaotic ones. Just a line, just one in a line of, I guess, past relationships that didn't work out. But before I get up out of here, that's not that is what it is. Before I get up out of here though, the other thing that I think this probably bothers me the most, when I look at this Shanice situation, I think of the picture that popped up on the timeline somebody retweeted of I think his name is Lil Durk, Young Turk. Um, could be Lil Honey Baked Ham, whatever. Um, in a photo with all his kids. At least 10 of those crumb snatchers. Looking at the picture, I was just like, this can't be life. Like, I know this guy's nowhere near his 30s. Now look at the kids, and I'm just like, so many of these kids are very, very close in age. Which leads me to believe that this dude was unserious every 12 months. And again, it's like these children, when you look at the children and how close they look to be in age, are the mothers like simps for just rappers? Just dude that got a little bit of money, a dude that's kind of smooth, a dude that's cute. That the dating scene or the hookup scene is the bar is in the gutter. I often say on the Afro's podcast, when I tell you the dating pool must got fentanyl in it, it's like there's got to be more to life than what's around you on your city block. Like it's crazy out here. Um, and who knows? Shanice may actually still do those things like school and college and actually make her own money and just evolve to the best of her ability away from being a statistic. Time will tell. But it was not on my bingo card, like I said, that the game would be a father again with a different woman. It's very fascinating. Um, this reality TV thing, it's it's interesting to see what be what has become of the women that came up into our consciousness on reality TV and have landed roles on television shows like Tammy Roman has. Got into acting on a show that's in its third season. To First Lady Shawnee Henderson, who is married to a pastor, a fine pastor too. Same dude that told that lady to shush while she was, I guess, fake catching the Holy Ghost while he was giving a prayer and to the congregation in the church, and she up in the stands wailing. Um, I cackle. And then the rest of them have gone back to basketball wives and mixed in with younger girls, and it's giving force. Evelyn's back on there too. And they're doing this thing where it's like the OGs are sitting across from girls that have a bone to pick with them from over 10 years ago. I'm like, okay. It's time to retire basketball wives. And Crazy Jackie Christie's on there. probably still getting married every year to Doug. Um, but karma is a bitch. You just don't want to be that person. You just don't want to be that person whose daughter's doing that. And I think that's all I got to say about that. This Miss Foxy I Refuse podcast. Be sure to check out the rest of the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We just dropped episode 44 of season 5 yesterday. And don't forget the YouTube channels here to follow and subscribe to the Twitter account at I Refuse Podcast, the Instagram at I Refuse Podcast, _ between the words. Link is everywhere. The usual suspects, and if you are feeling very curious, the I Refuse Podcast After Dark. And we will catch you guys later. Fendi, like the bag. This is the I Refuse.